Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun was the first African-American woman elected to the Senate. This was in 1992, by the way, so not too long ago. But anyway, she's got a new memoir out titled Trailblazer, Perseverance and Life in Politics. And in this interview with NPR's Michel Martin, she does talk about all that she endured blazing that trail in the Senate. But she also talks about her political origin story and how what got her fired up enough to show up at a protest and eventually run for a state representative seat was actually birds. That's coming up.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed and get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/book. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
If Carol Moseley Braun's name comes up, the other word that has to come up is first. She was the first African-American woman elected to the U.S. Senate. She was also the first female senator from Illinois and the first black Democrat elected to the Senate. And while all those titles assured her place in the history books, they didn't assure an easy time in the job. And they certainly don't tell the story of the highs and the high cost of being the first. So Carol Moseley Braun is doing that herself in her new memoir titled Trailblazer, Perseverance in Life and Politics. And she's with us now to tell us more about it. Good morning, Ambassador. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I'm so delighted to be with you. Good to talk with you again.
And it's Ambassador Moseley Braun because in addition to having been a U.S. Senator and a number of other offices in politics, you were also U.S. Ambassador to New Zealand and Samoa. So you've been out of public life for a while. What made you want to tell your story now? Was there any particular thing pushing you?
You know, my little grandbaby, he's 7 now. He came and said, Grandma Carol, are you famous? And I tried to explain it to him, but, it's too many words, and he was only 6 at the time. So I said, you know what? I think that now is the time.
Why did you decide to get into elected office to begin with? Will you tell that story?
I've been assistant United States attorney, and I had my son. And so I was here with him. I was just being a homemaker, which was fine. I really enjoyed it. But there were people in the neighborhood who were protesting the removal of the bobolinks from Jackson Park. And I joined them one day, and the bobolinks are these little rice birds, originally from South Carolina, but somehow or another they wound up here in Chicago, okay? And so some of the people with whom I was marching said, we think you should run for state representative. Our state representative is retiring. So at first I demurred and wouldn't do it. But then after I got challenged, there's a pundit here in Chicago who said, don't run, you can't possibly win. The blacks won't vote for you because you're not part of the Chicago machine. The whites won't vote for you because you're black. And nobody's going to vote for you because you're a woman. And so that was my inspiration. That's what did it.
And nobody thought you could win, except you.
Nobody thought I could win. She lost all of her mind. Yeah.
But one of the things that was also interesting in the book is that so many of the jobs that you had, there was a point at which nobody believed it was you actually had that job. I mean, you tell the story about like being an assistant U.S. attorney and coming home from one of those cold Chicago winters, trying to get home, and you're trying to hail a taxi. This is pre-Uber, of course.
Yep.
And this police officer keeps riding by you saying, what was he saying? Get off that corner.
Give up that corner. Give up that corner.
Give up that corner. And he thought you were
a hooker.
Because what? Why else would a black woman dressed up?
Because I was a black woman standing on the corner in downtown Chicago.
And then you talked about your first day at the Senate when you tried to get to your office. There was a Capitol police officer who
wouldn't let me in.
Wouldn't let you in.
Well, the guy, there are always 2 Capitol police standing on the doors to the Senate. The first guy, he said, you can't go in there. I looked at him like quizzically, like, why can't I? Then the other guy piped in and said, oh, she's a new senator from Illinois. And so that backed his colleague off.
I don't want people to think that the entire memoir is just filled with these insults directed at you, although there were many, like, for example, the senator who would sing Dixie in your presence and so forth.
Right.
So there's that. But there were some structural issues that you also pointed out that made your job more difficult than for other people, like, for example, the amount of mail that you got. Could you talk about that?
The mail was really a challenge because there was so much of it. I mean, they gave me a room in the basement of the Capitol that was filled with these duffel bags full of mail. There was no way I could possibly do all of that by myself. And so I went to leadership and I asked for assignment of some help. And one guy said to me, well, Ted Kennedy gets a lot of mail and, he handles it. I'm thinking to myself, you're telling me I got to function like Ted Kennedy does? I was too outdone.
But they never gave you additional staff just to deal with the mail.
No, they did not.
And do you think that played some role over the course of your tenure, the kind of angst that's sometimes built up around you, that people felt that you weren't doing the job?
It might have. But again, you can't make everybody happy. But if you do the job, then people can't take pot shots at you.
Well, they did, though.
Yeah, they did.
Why do you think you served only one term?
Because of that. There was such expectations, and people expected me to come to every chicken fry in the state, and I couldn't do it. I did as much as I could, but I couldn't do all of it.
Do you think that's why? I mean, you think that at the end of the day, the expectations of you were just greater than you could, as one person, fulfill?
That's part of it, but I think it's also what standard you're being held to. Again, I was kind of the duckbill platypus of the Senate in the sense that I was not only a woman, but I was Black too. And I am Black too. And so you put those things together and what you have is a set of expectations that border on the unreasonable, that border on the trailblazing, the groundbreaking, if you will. And so I did my very best to live up to those expectations, but it was not always possible.
Is there anything you wish you'd done differently?
Well, not really. I did the best job I could while I was planted. I really did. And I still am. I mean, I'm not dead yet. It's like, I spoke at a high school, at a grammar school rather, and the school was named after me. And one little boy said, hey, there goes Carol Moseley Braun. And his little friend turned around and said, you mean she's not dead yet? No, she's not dead yet. So I'm still here. So while I'm still here and able to tell the story, that's why the book made sense to do.
Well, one of the things about being first is it often makes things easier for people who are next, right?
Follow.
The second and the third and the fourth. Is there something in particular that you think made it easier for them by the fact that you went first?
Well, I hope the fact that I deflected all of the brickbats, that I don't think anybody's going to be held to the same kind of standard I was being held to in terms of, production. I hope that has really provided a roadmap to people who come after us. Don't get distracted with all the noise around you, because there will be lots of noise around you. But if you don't let that distract you and you just keep focusing on what the people elected you to do, you'll be fine.
That is Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun. She's the author of Trailblazer, Perseverance in Life and Politics. Ambassador Moseley Braun, thank you so much for talking with us.
I'm so happy to talk to you again, Michel.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Rosetta Stone, an expert in language learning for 30 years. Right now, NPR listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership to 25 different languages for 50% off. Learn more at rosettastone.com/NPR.
This message comes from First Leaf. Summer days hit better when First Leaf takes care of the wine for you. First Leaf's short quiz figures out what you like, then delivers a summer-ready box. Bright whites, smooth reds, and chillable bubbles. No wine aisle guessing, no errands. Just personalized picks shipped to your door. Get your summer sip lineup at tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo SUMMERTIME. Your first 6 bottles are just $44.95 and are matched exactly to your taste. That's tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo SUMMERTIME.
This message comes from Capital One. With the Spark Cash Plus card, you earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase for your business. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus. Terms apply.